A few months ago, almost nobody knew her name. Today, Inde Navarrette is being talked about as one of Hollywood's next major stars. She has a breakout horror performance that audiences can't stop talking about. She's already landed one of the biggest roles in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And now, she's entering the Oscar conversation. But here's the crazy part. Obsession wasn't supposed to be the beginning of an Oscar campaign. It was a small horror movie, and Inde Navarrette wasn't a household name. So how did a young actress go from struggling to book jobs to becoming one of the most talked about young actresses in Hollywood? And more importantly, could Inde Navarrette actually win an Oscar? Let's talk about it. Before Obsession, Inde Navarrette was far from a Hollywood superstar. She was born in Tucson, Arizona, and built her career one role at a time. She appeared in 13 Reasons Why, and later became known to superhero fans for playing Sarah Cortez on Superman and Lois. But neither role turned her into a major movie star, and then something happened that makes her story even more interesting. After filming Obsession, Navarrette went through a long period where she simply couldn't land another acting job. She spent months auditioning without anything sticking. She walked dogs, she streamed, she did whatever she could to pay the bills. Think about that. She had already filmed the movie that would eventually make her famous, and she still didn't know if Hollywood was going to work out for her. Then Obsession arrived, and everything changed. Obsession is not the kind of movie you would normally expect to create an Oscar contender. It's a supernatural horror film directed by Curry Barker. The story follows Bear, played by Michael Johnston, who becomes obsessed with his childhood friend Nikki. And that's where Inde Navarrette comes in. She plays Nikki Freeman, but the performance isn't simply about playing a woman who becomes terrifying. That's what makes it interesting. Navarrette has to play multiple versions of Nikki. There's the normal Nikki, the Nikki who is slowly losing control. And then there's something much darker. The character has to feel familiar enough that the audience cares about her, but frightening enough that we genuinely don't know what she's going to do next. And that's exactly what makes the performance so interesting. The best horror performances aren't necessarily the loudest ones. They're the ones where you can see the person underneath the horror, and audiences noticed. Obsession became a major breakout for Inde Navarrette. Suddenly, the actress who had been struggling to book jobs was everywhere. And here's why I think the Oscar conversation isn't completely crazy. It's not because Obsession is a horror movie, it's because horror can actually be one of the hardest genres for an actor. Think about what Navarrette has to communicate: fear, confusion, desire, anger, vulnerability, and eventually something that doesn't even feel human anymore. And she has to make all of those emotions believable. The audience has to understand Nikki before they can be afraid of her. And that's exactly what makes the performance work. You aren't just watching a character become dangerous, you're watching someone lose control of herself. That gives the performance an emotional layer underneath the horror, and that's usually what separates a memorable genre performance from a performance that awards voters can actually take seriously. Could it win? That's another question. But could it get nominated? Suddenly, that doesn't sound nearly as ridiculous. Now let's be realistic. There is a huge difference between Oscar buzz and actually winning an Oscar. A performance can become a viral sensation and still never receive a nomination. And horror movies have historically had a harder time getting recognized in the major acting categories. So why is Inde even in the conversation? Because timing matters. She's not just coming out of nowhere anymore. She's coming off a major breakout. She's receiving awards attention for Obsession, and Hollywood is clearly betting on her future. And that brings us to perhaps the biggest reason why Inde Navarrette could become an Oscar contender one day. Not because she already has an Oscar-worthy resume, but because Hollywood now knows her name. And then came the announcement that completely changed the conversation. Marvel Studios revealed that Inde Navarrette will play Rogue in the upcoming X-Men movie. not a random supporting character, not a one-scene cameo. Rogue, one of the most recognizable characters in X-Men history. Think about the trajectory here. A young actress struggles to book roles. She makes a horror movie. That movie becomes a breakout hit. Her performance becomes the thing everybody talks about. And then Marvel comes knocking. That's not just a career breakthrough. That's a transformation, but here's why the Oscar could still happen. I don't think Inde Navarrette's Oscar story is necessarily about obsession. I think obsession might be the beginning of it. Because once an actress proves she can carry a movie, Hollywood starts giving her better opportunities. And once she gets those opportunities, she gets the chance to show range. That's the real test. Can she go from horror to superhero to drama? Can she play someone completely different from Nikki? Can she disappear into a character instead of simply playing herself? If the answer is yes, then we're looking at something much bigger than a one-hit breakout. We're looking at a career. And that's exactly how Oscar careers are built. Not with one performance, but with a series of performances that make people realize, wait, this actress is actually special. A year ago, Inde Navarrette was still trying to figure out where her next acting job was coming from. Today, she's one of the breakout actresses of 2026. She has a hit movie. She's getting awards attention. She's joining the Marvel Cinematic Universe as Rogue. And Hollywood is suddenly watching what she does next. So, will Inde Navarrette actually win an Oscar? Honestly, I don't know. And anyone who tells you they know for sure is probably selling you something. But here's what I do know. The Oscar conversation has started. And sometimes that's how the story begins. Because the most interesting part isn't whether Inde Navarrette wins an Oscar in 2027. It's whether 5 years from now, we'll look back at Obsession and realize that this was the moment Hollywood discovered her. This may not be the Oscar movie, it may be the movie that started the Oscar career. And if that happens, remember where you heard her name first, Inde Navarrette. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more stories about the actors, movies, and careers taking over Hollywood. And tell me in the comments, do you think Inde Navarrette could actually win an Oscar one day?